Hello everyone, we are live now. Thank you all for coming to this live stream. I decided what I would do to try some new things would be to, after I make a video, to have a live stream afterwards within like a week's time to discuss the video and to further explain the topic. And for any other questions that you may have that you may want to discuss, you can do that as well. So I published a video about a week ago about the toxins in the world, and I put a lot of time and energy into that. It was a lot of well-researched information that I had, and it was a video that I was very happy with, that I was very proud of. So I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you've not seen it yet, it's on my YouTube channel. It's on my website, automassfidel.com. You can find everything there. So this is going to further explain that and to answer any questions that you may have regarding this video. So this information in this video, I put a lot together. I was not expecting it to be as long as it was, because it was like over 20 minutes long. And when I was making it, it was, well, it was not supposed to be that long, because as I was writing it, it just more and more things came. More and more information started to come out regarding all these toxins that we are exposed to. So I just kept writing, I just kept writing, and then sure enough, there was all the information there. So I really hope that you found it helpful and informative, and it is greatly appreciated that you watched it and that you share it with anyone who may need the information as well, because it's a lot of information that we tend to not really look at in our society. We don't really think, you know, toxic chemicals here and there are really contributing much to our overall health. And the unfortunate truth is that toxins are all around us. We are exposed to them daily. We are chronically exposed to them, which is what's causing so many health problems in the world. Autoimmune disorders, cancer, and a lot of these unexplainable autoimmune diseases. Like for me personally, I have been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease as well, called fibromyalgia, which is a, you know, mystery illness is what doctors usually call it. And there are so many theories as to what causes it and how it comes about and what can alleviate it. And I found many ways to alleviate it. There were many causes that were contributing for me personally. So I think certainly these toxic chemicals are giving rise to these chronic illnesses. So welcome everyone. So if anyone has any questions regarding that video, feel free to ask them, because yeah, we certainly have a lot of things to cover here. So in the video, I talk about, I'm going to kind of go through a little bit here so we can kind of be on the same page as to where it is. So in this video that I did, I listed it as the top 10 contaminants that we are exposed to. And it was honestly really more than that, because, well, I kind of grouped them into like 10 different ones based on, you know, you can kind of group various ones into like the same category. But I discussed various things, and the major categories are chemicals in food, genetically modified organisms, chemicals in water, pesticides in water and food, fluoride, toothpaste, BPA, heavy metals, lotions, deodorant, sunscreen, laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, radiation, and medications. So this is more than 10, but this was the blueprint, so to speak, of the video. So we got a first question here. Okay. So what I can do, which is really nice, is, let's see how well this works. Okay, here we go. Question. It's on the screen now. Good. Okay, so what is the most toxic thing that we are exposed to every day? Well, that's kind of a loaded question because there are many toxins we are exposed to every single day. I would say probably one of the most that we are exposed to daily is endocrine disrupting chemicals. So this is usually like the BPA in plastics. That is probably, it's not only BPA, but it's the other endocrine disrupting chemicals. And there are a slew of them. It doesn't have to even be like BPA in plastics. It can be other alternatives that they use in plastics and cans. It can even be some pesticides that are in food and in water that you drink. If you don't filter your water out, or if you do filter it, it may not filter everything out. So I would say endocrine disruptors are probably close to the top of the list there. Endocrine disruptors, if you don't know, they interfere with your endocrine system in your body. And I think that is certainly what causes a lot of people to have thyroid-related issues, hormonal issues. Because your thyroid, a lot of people have underactive thyroid because they're not getting enough nutrients in their body to help the slew of chemicals, the endocrine disruptors going into their body. So usually one of the two best things that I have personally found to help with thyroid, which has helped me, I guess, with my hormone levels as well, and you know, I had very low testosterone. This has been like a natural testosterone boost. It is thyroid supplements, not taking any supplement, but like iodine and selenium. And the richest sources of these is iodine in like seafood, seaweed. I like, you know, seaweed and that sort of thing. And then selenium in Brazil nuts is usually the richest source. So if you eat a Brazil nut every day, that's a very, very good thing. And I've certainly had a lot of benefits from that. So thank you very much for the question. And thank you, Karen, for the positive words. Thank you very much. Okay, so we got another question here. So, how can we use natural items to treat atopic dermatitis? Any thoughts? I really do not know what atopic dermatitis actually is, so I really cannot help you there very much. I would say do some research on it and see what remedies may work for you. When searching up a natural remedy, the thing to note is that natural remedies are not regulated. So you may not have as much information. There may not be as many studies out there that show what it may interact with in your body. So if you're taking some other medication and, okay, eczema. Okay, so it's eczema. Okay. I think I was reading something about that the other day. I forget exactly what it was, but anyway, if you're looking up some natural remedies to try, especially something that you're taking internally, as I said, it's not regulated. You may not know a dosage. You may not know anything about that. So that's kind of the positive thing about pharmaceutical drugs, because it is more regulated. You do know more a bit about how much you should take here and there. But the downside is that the pharmaceutical drugs don't really address the root cause of the issue and ultimately have a slew of side effects that you got to use other medications to counteract. So there's really no healing benefit there, whereas a natural remedy can heal you if taken correctly and taken in the right amount. Okay, so we got another question here. Okay, so Marissa asks, why don't you get a degree so that people would consider you more credible? Now, this is certainly a good thing to bring up, because I'm not so much giving health advice as I am presenting you, the audience, with information that is publicly available online that you may not have thought of, that you may not have looked into. A lot of my own information that I have is very well-researched information that I have from online resources. I have looked up a lot of information online as well. I have studied various documentaries I have seen. I have read various research papers about various experiments and stuff like that. So, of course, I'm not a credible source to give out, say this does this to your body, but the information is there by other people who may be credible, as you say. So most of what I present is so the user can look into the information themselves, so that they can understand what they are putting in their body that may be contributing to some of these issues that they have. I'm not saying that it is the cause of the issues, but it can certainly contribute to a lot of health problems. Okay, Karen, your daughter has underactive thyroid. Okay, so usually an endocrinologist. Okay, so I will. This is not really a question, but I will put it on the screen here so you can see. Usually an endocrinologist, they specialize in thyroid and in hormones and that sort of thing. I see an endocrinologist. And here is the thing. When I've been to the endocrinologist, and he diagnosed me with well, no, he didn't diagnose me anything. It's just one or two visits, my thyroid was slightly underactive. Very, very slightly. And he wanted to say, okay, I'm going to put you on medication for that. And I said, no, why am I going to go on medication for slightly under? I'm just going to start exercising more. I'm going to start eating better, because that was back when I wasn't eating as well as I am now. And through that, it's been better, and it's been pretty much fine ever since. My levels, a very few times it may be a little bit. It's usually underactive. I've never had it overactive, but yeah, you have to be very careful about any kind of doctor you go to, because usually if you don't come in with information that you already have researched, the doctor probably doesn't know any more than you do sometimes. So you go in there presenting this information to them that they may not even be aware of. I've certainly done that with my doctor. I know people who have gone into doctors and presented information that the doctor had no idea about. So you have to be very on top of it when you are going to the doctor, and you have to have the answers before they try to give you their own answers. And then you have to research and come to the conclusion. You can't just blindly trust any doctor. Okay, so Luna asks, how can we avoid these toxic things? And the answer is, you cannot avoid them. And I know that may sound kind of scary. It may seem like you want to avoid these chemicals because you may know what they're doing to your body, but there is no way to avoid it 100%, unfortunately. And that has to do with because they're all around us, everywhere. You cannot avoid all these chemicals because they are there. Now, let's see. Probably the best thing you can do, however, is to make sure that you are aware of probably some of the biggest sources of these toxic chemicals. A lot of these things are like pesticides in various fruits and vegetables, to know when to choose safer alternatives for those specific fruits and vegetables. So that would be a good way, and to also just look at what your connect the dots is another thing you can do. So if you're eating something and you notice after you eat it, you have some sort of gastrointestinal problem or something, then you eat something else and you have like the similar issue, but they're completely separate foods. If you look at the ingredients, maybe there's a similar ingredient in there that may not be, it could be something you're sensitive to, but it may not be something that's even natural. It could be maybe some kind of artificial color or flavor added to the product you're consuming. It's like, okay, let me avoid that. And then you'll be better there. So, oh, I like this question a lot here. Paul asks, is there a safe way to whiten teeth? Yes, there is. The best way to whiten teeth is actually activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is black. It is, you know, this black charcoal, not the kind of charcoal that you are grilling with, but it's activated charcoal, usually from coconut. It's very black. I mix it in with my toothpaste that I have. Brush my teeth with it. You can do oil pulling, which you do. I do coconut oil and some of the activated charcoal, and I swish that around my mouth, like maybe once or twice a week. So that can really help you there with whitening your teeth. It may seem like, okay, you know, putting something black in your mouth is going to whiten it, but it actually does. It actually does make your teeth look really white. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. All right. So let's see if we have any other questions here. So if you feel free to ask any kind of questions here, because I will do my best to answer them or to give you some advice as to where to look to find out the answers yourself. People seem to be really on top of the eczema thing here, so I'm very glad that you're helping him out figure out the eczema issue, because eczema, I don't personally have it, but yeah, I can imagine it can be rather tough dealing with. Okay, so I agree with you. Many toxins, cancer rates 1 in 16 when I was a kid, and now it's 1 in 3. Let's say same with vaccines. I had 3 or 4 now, 70 plus. Yes, there are certainly a lot of things have increased over the years, and honestly, when I hear people contributing to, like, let's say people contribute cancer rates being due to GMOs. I question that, because GMOs is not the only thing that's new in the world over the past decade or so. Neither is the pesticides that are used. Neither is the increase of, you know, all these other things. It's a combination of everything. So usually a lot of people say it is this that's causing the increase of this. A increasing B, when, you know, it may not necessarily be that specific thing alone. It's a combination, because here is the interesting thing. It's a lot of times with toxic chemicals, scientists say that it's the dose that makes the poison. And yes, that is very true, but what about dose A, dose B, and dose C of the same element combined from various sources? And that's like the problem that I have. So if you're eating something and it has this amount of aluminum in it, for example, aluminum is a toxic metal that doesn't have any benefit to your body. It has a lot of use with like using it as like aluminum foil to cook with, or other various uses. Same with plastic. You know, plastic has a lot of great uses, but not for the human body. You don't eat plastic. You don't eat aluminum. You don't need those things in your body. But they have a lot of great benefits to store things and to utilize in some way. So the amount of aluminum you would get exposed to from cooking, or from eating something that may have some aluminum in it from the soil that the plant is grown in, it may be such trivial amounts that's not going to cause a big problem with you. But the thing is, it adds up. It adds up. So you have source A, B, C, D, E, and F. Each of those sources independently aren't going to be that big of a problem for you. They're going to be very minor. You take one, you're good. You take two, maybe you're okay. But you take them all throughout the day, your body is not able to fully eliminate a lot of those things, and it builds up. It builds up in your system. It's kind of like if you're deficient in a vitamin. You take the vitamin until you have enough of it, and then you slow down on the vitamin so you keep that level and it doesn't keep rising up. And it's the same with these metals, same with these toxins, because you're consuming it quicker than your body gets rid of it, and it adds up, it adds up, and it adds up. And if you're not limiting it or eating something that's going to help eliminate it and excrete it from your body, then it's going to keep adding up. Okay, so we got another question here. Okay, so question here, who is more at risk, I guess, of these being exposed to these toxic chemicals? And you also ask, are adults more at risk or are children? Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Okay, so the thing is, children are growing. They are much smaller. So they're going to be, it's usually babies and the elderly are the most at risk. Usually when you're probably like, I don't know, quite teenage years, maybe like in your 20s to your 50s maybe, you probably be pretty good, because that is when your body should be working the best. That is when you should be able to eliminate all these toxins from your body easily. Your body should be working in very good condition. So it's mostly children and the elderly that are the most at risk. So yeah, it is certainly putting it into perspective as to how much a child needs to be able to function properly, how much proper nutrients that they need, and how much avoiding some of these toxic chemicals in their food and water would be beneficial to them. Because as a child grows, and I did mention this in the video as well about fluoride in specifically, like in toothpaste, I don't know how much would get absorbed into your body as opposed to drinking water. The amount of water you would drink in a day, they recommend like 8 cups of water a day. That's usually equal to about 2 pea-size amounts of toothpaste you would normally put on your toothbrush. So imagine eating 2 little pea-size amounts of toothpaste on your toothbrush every day. That's the amount of fluoride you would normally be drinking in water if you do not filter fluoride, or if you don't live in a place that they don't fluorinate their water. That can be other countries, even some cities in the United States don't do that. But for the most part, if you live in the United States, you usually have fluoridated water. So that alone has been shown, especially primarily in babies before they are born, when they're still in utero, to decrease their IQ. And I think it also can contribute to early puberty, because it directly impacts your pineal gland in your brain, which regulates hormones that start to become active when you hit puberty. So because of that, it's directly impacting a gland in your body that is responsible for puberty and even sleep as well. It's very important for sleep. So okay. All right, let's see. Cancer seems to be a byproduct of human. Okay. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I hear this one a lot as well. Cancer seems to be a byproduct of longer human lifespans due to modern medicine. And this is, you would think that this makes a lot of sense as well, but at the same time, it doesn't explain why younger and younger people are having cancer, why more and more people are having cancer that are younger, why more and more children are being diagnosed with a cancer that wasn't here, you know, decades ago. So this makes sense to a me, but it also is contradictory to what is actually happening in the world. Okay. Benjamin says, "You've been a guinea pig for a big pharma for 10 years. The only thing improved was their bottom line." Yes, indeed. I certainly agree with you there. It is a lot of money involved with medicine and pharmaceutical drugs. And I don't think I mentioned it in this video that I just did, but I think it was in the previous one about how the United States, and I think maybe only one other country, is allowed to play pharmaceutical ads on television. That's a direct-to-consumer sales of, direct-to-consumer advertising of pharmaceutical drugs. So you see ads on TV for a lot of antidepressant drugs. You know, you're feeling down, you're feeling depressed, you know, here's the medication. And then there's a commercial that follows that, and I can just imagine the person watching like, gosh, I'm on this antidepressant and it's not working for me. I still feel depressed. See a commercial. This medication taken along with your antidepressant. So you're taking two that are who knows what they're doing to your brain there. So I find that very interesting, and that's, again, only really in the United States, and I don't remember the other country. New Zealand, I think it is. I forget exactly, but yeah. Okay, so we got another question here from Kelly Patterson. How can we excrete it? Excreting these chemicals is, I'm not sure what that odd character is that's showing there. Okay, there we go. How can we excrete these toxic chemicals? It depends on what it is, because if you're eating well, if you're eating healthy, by healthy, you know, it usually means, you know, not eating the junk food, the fast foods, eating proper nutrients, avoiding a lot of these synthetic, artificial sweeteners, artificial colorings, additives, and stuff like that. You're eating more natural, and you're eating usually a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits and stuff. Your body will naturally do its own job at getting rid of these toxins. It really will. It's very efficient at doing that. The only thing is, as I mentioned before, if you're eating junk food and you're putting more into your body than it can remove naturally, then it starts to build up. So I tend to say to people, worry less about how to get rid of it, focus more on how to eat better, and your body will naturally heal on its own, because that's what it's meant to do. Now, of course, if you're unable to, if your body's unable to, because let's say it's chronically sick, and even with all the fresh fruits and vegetables and everything, you still can't properly, you know, heal your body, then there are certainly plenty of things that may help. I can't really give you a specific one because that is such a loaded question, because if you remove this from your body, it requires this specific thing. If you remove this, it requires that specific thing. So there are a variety of things. Okay. This is a good question as well, since I mentioned about food. What is your diet like? And again, this weird character that shows up when I copy. There. Odd. My diet consists of, and it's been a very long process to get here. I had used to eat pretty poorly. I did not eat the best diet. I ate a lot of foods with empty carbs. There was not much nutritional value to it, and I had health effects as a result. Like I noticed, like in my chest, I noticed this tightening in my chest. Like I couldn't breathe in all the way, and it was pretty bad. But the thing is, I then started to say, okay, I'm concerned about this. I took my health into my own hands. I'm just like, okay, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I need to eat better. I need to exercise more, because that was back before I was even exercising. So I began to exercise more, and I slowly started to change my diet. And that was back when I was a meat eater. And then I slowly changed my diet to be more, be more vegetarian. It happened very slowly, like over the course of several years. Like I replaced beef with like turkey. I replaced then turkey to like bean and vegetable products. So it was very slow. And then I'm not, quite a vegan at this time. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm very far away from it, but I would say that I do prefer more now vegetables and fruits as opposed to processed foods and everything. So I still eat a variety of foods that are fresh, and also ones that are, I don't know if I would necessarily call them processed foods, because they do have a lot of nutritional value to it. Like if they're like dried foods, or some kind of cracker that's made of like a lot of seeds and grains, or stuff like that. So I try to eat well with, I've always had like a high fiber diet, which is very good as well. It's just about finding what works best for you and what gives your body nutrition. And I recently also got a juicer as well, so I'm trying various things out. Haven't done too much, but that's also another way you can get your fruits and vegetables and everything. Yeah. Okay, we got another question here. Let me see if this one is too long. Okay, no, it's not too long. We still got that weird character there. There we go. Okay. I worry about the use of prescription drugs meant to help, such as antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications, doing more long-term harm to the brain than good. Any thoughts? This is a very good question, because since I started my YouTube channel, I had a lot of times focused on mental health, the mental health aspects of how to heal yourself from various mental problems and mental disorders. That had been what my goal was from the very beginning. And this video here it talks about a little of the mental aspects, because mental health, if you have depression, you can't just necessarily take an antidepressant and think it's going to help, because there could be many reasons why you're depressed. Maybe you're deficient in a vitamin or a mineral that's causing this depression, but maybe not. It could be something else. So with these prescription drugs, I would say that they do cause more harm to the brain than they help, mainly because antidepressants, SSRI medications are based on a theory of chemical imbalance in the brain, which has been shown to not exist. It doesn't exist. It's not an actual thing. There's no chemical test you can do that'll prove you're depressed. And any kind of brain scan you would do, that doesn't really prove anything either, because when you are depressed, your brain is slower. It is more sluggish, so it's going to show that, but that's not necessarily the cause of the depression. So based on that, you have SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It's based on serotonin, and it's supposed to help regulate the serotonin levels that are supposedly out of whack with when you have depression. And because that's not accurate, what it will do is when you're taking them, it will throw your serotonin levels out of what they're supposed to be. So that in itself will change your chemical structure in your brain, and actually cause you to have a chemical imbalance as a result of taking the medication. So the medication that they claim is to help with the chemical imbalance is what causes the chemical imbalance in the brain. And a lot of times these medications are highly addictive. So getting off of them is like getting off some sort of opiate. It's very hard to do. It's very, very difficult for your body to be able to because you have withdrawal symptoms. And not only that, you may be unable to fully get off them in a reasonable amount of time. It may take several years, just as it does for people who are on opiates, who are taking opiates. And it's a very sad thing, but you know, it's ultimately, I am not in charge of what you do with your life. So if you want to get off them, then you have to be very well equipped and prepared with information of what may happen, and you probably just can't just stop it all of a sudden, because that would be dangerous for your body to do, because your body has become dependent on them, not only chemically but also, you know, mostly just these chemicals. When you just stop them, it can cause a lot of harm to your body. So, you know, do plenty of research into that, because I don't have any experience with that personally, but certainly looking up a lot of information online, hearing from other people who have stopped may be able to help. Okay, so I apologize for having to skip some questions here, but there are a lot. I do apologize for that. Okay. Okay. There we go. Do you think junk food should be entirely banned from our lives, or just indulge on occasion? That's entirely up to you, because, you know, I have no right to say what you do to your body. So if you want to eat this junk food, then by all means, you have every right to do so. I don't like to see people put things into their body that are going to cause harm to them, especially when they are not aware of what they're putting in their body. If they're fully aware of the chemicals that are in there, and it's just like if you go to a fast food place and you're eating, you know, like a burger, knowing that it's probably just empty carbs, fats, that, you know, there's really no major nutrients in there for you. If you know that, then that's entirely up to you. But if you don't know that, if you're going in there thinking you're just eating like a fresh burger or something, and you don't realize all the other things that are inside that burger, or, you know, all 50 ingredients or whatever, then that is when I'm like, you should know that. You should know what you're putting in your body and then make that decision. So I don't think that they should be banned. I think people should be educated so they can make their own choice. Oh, that kind of leads into the next question here, which kind of makes some sense here. Okay. What if someone does not care about these toxins or their health? Does that mean something is wrong with them? What is the solution to not caring, no matter how much research we see? Well, this comes down to, I guess, how much you care about your health and your body. If you do not care about yourself and your body, why could that be? Perhaps there is a lot of self-hatred you may have. It's kind of getting into like the psychology aspect of it here. Perhaps you do not like yourself, so you don't want to do what's best for your health. So you do something that may not be necessarily healthy for you. There are many reasons for that. So I would say, if you do not care about yourself or your health, then I would say to look into maybe why. What is the reason why you do not? Because there is always a reason for our actions, even if we don't know what they are. Okay. Okay. Now this is a interesting question as well. And this one is, Gosh, that a weird character. I just don't know why it shows there. Do you believe that it's easy to receive those prescriptions? I heard people pretend like they have a disorder and turn around and sell pills they receive. Yes, I do believe it is easy. There is, I think it was in the documentary that I had as a resource in the previous video about this topic here, the toxic chemicals. That was about, let's see, the DSM psychiatry's biggest scam or something. And they literally just go into various psychiatrists and say that they have some sort of problem, and then they get prescribed medication. Or the psychologist looks at them for maybe, studies them for like 20 minutes, and then they say, oh, you have ADHD, you have this or that, here's a prescription for this. I can't sleep, I can't concentrate, here's a medication. So we live in a very pharmaceutical-based world. So it's all about pharmaceuticals, pharmaceutical drugs. So yes, I do certainly believe that it is pretty easy to do so. Let's see what else. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on each question here, because there are quite a bit. And okay, let's see. Okay, here's an interesting question we got here. Okay. So we have, I have been having water, vegetables, and fiber and my vitamins a lot more lately, and soon will exercise, but I am bloated just under my breasts, intestines, right? Do you think that it's just because my, and then they continue on, body is not used to it? Let's say body is not used to it. If you're just starting out, then yes, that can certainly be something that your body has to get used to, because you can't, I guess that's why when I went really slowly with my diet change, it wasn't such a big shock to my system. Usually if you're eating like a lot of junk food and then you just switch like that to healthier, your body's going to begin to start working better, and you may eliminate a lot of toxins, then you may end up feeling worse. I forget the exact name for it. It starts with like an H, like hex syndrome or something. I forget exactly what it is, but that's when you begin to take something and you begin to detox more, then your body gets rid of it, and you begin to feel worse before you feel better. That's ultimately how it is. So that could be related to that. So will it fix itself? I don't really know. You have to continue to see, depending on how long you've been doing that. Okay, let's see for our next question here. So if I have a mental disorder like bipolar, I should stop my medication because it's hurting my brain more than helping. So what do I have to do then if I don't take drugs? No, you don't have to stop any kind of medication. That is ultimately up to you, and that's your choice to be able to do that. If you want to stop the medication, as I mentioned earlier, it would certainly take some time. It's depending on how long you've been on it. If you've been on it for like 2 years, then probably double that to actually fully get off of that. So if you don't want to take drugs, there are certainly more natural things you may look into. Like if you're not on any medication right now at all, I always advise people, perhaps some natural remedy may be able to help. And check all the various vitamins and mineral levels in your body before dealing with any kind of depression, because sometimes depression may be due to a lack of vitamin or minerals in your body. Perhaps you're deficient in B vitamins. Perhaps you're, especially this one, vitamin D. I think vitamin B12 and vitamin D is pretty much something everyone should take, because a lot of people are deficient. Okay, so this is a good one here too. And that silly text. Oh, that silly text. So what do you think of? Okay, what do you think of bacteria and other microbes? Do you find them helpful sometimes? Bacteria and microbes are very, very good. Now, the right kind of bacteria, the right kind of microbes in your body. That's why it's always important to take probiotics. They are very beneficial, because a lot of your immune system and your ability to, your mental state lies within your gut. So when you're eating poorly, your gut begins to change in a way that's going to cause mental problems, that's going to cause overall health problems, and it's going to weaken your immune system. By building proper gut bacteria and taking, these probiotics, they can be, there are so many probiotics, so they're always good. That can certainly help increase your mental clarity and even help with various mental disorders as well. So yes, they can be very good. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is a one here from, let's see, about cancer rates. Again, that silly little copy thing. Okay, do you think you could do a video in the future regarding the enormous increase in cancer numbers in the last 130 years? That would certainly be very interesting to do, yes, so I will certainly keep that in mind. Okay. Vivian, that's a good quote from Britney Spears. She said, Vivian Yale said, "Don't you know that you're toxic?" Yeah, from Britney Spears. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, here is another, this is probably a controversial one here. What I need to do, let's say, okay. Let's get rid of that weird text thing. Okay, do you think recreational drugs may have toxins in them? Well, the thing is about recreational drugs, if you're getting it, like, it depends on the recreational drug. I mean, there are so many that that are legal and illegal. You know, some of the most toxic substances are legal ones. That is cigarettes, nicotine, and tobacco. Those are very highly addictive and highly toxic to the body. They can have, I mean, you know, nicotine can have some benefits, absolutely, but do the benefits outweigh the risk and the addiction that comes with it? And the other one is alcohol. Alcohol is one of the most toxic substances as well. I've made a video about this one as well. It's very short. I could have probably gone into more detail, but there aren't really any benefits to alcohol. The benefits from wine, as they claim, you would literally need to drink like two to 4 bottles of wine in order to get the right amount of the resveratrol to have cardiovascular positive effects. So, you know, alcohol really, well, I think it's usually cigarettes are the worst, followed by alcohol, but I would say that they're they're legal, and they're legal for a reason. Because there's a lot of money, they're highly addictive, and they have no medical benefit. If they had medical benefit, then you better believe that they would be illegal, such as marijuana is illegal, and that one does not have the type of addictive qualities that these other two do. That's not saying that it can't be addictive, because I know some people have said, when I've talked about marijuana being addictive, I mean it like psychologically addictive. You become dependent on it psychologically, not chemically addictive. And people say it is not addictive at all, and I beg to differ on that one. So yeah. Okay, let's see. So this is a good one as well. All right. Okay, that weird cat. What's your opinion on being malnourished, and do you think that can affect psychologically you most parts? It can affect psychological you most parts. Yes, absolutely. If you're not getting the right vitamins and nutrients that your body needs, then your body will certainly not be in the best position to handle certain things. You could have chronic fatigue. You could be tired all the time. And that may be labeled as depression. You may not be up to doing things because you're just so tired. You're fatigued. You don't feel like doing anything. Depression. Because you don't have the right nutrients. So yes. Okay. I think I'm going to answer one more question. I think we're going to end it very soon here. Let's see. So the next person who gives out a question, I will answer it, and that will be the last question that I answer. I thank you all so very much for coming to the stream here. I very much appreciate it. I will be doing more after my videos that I do, and this one was very great to expand upon that topic, and I really hope that you have learned a lot from this as well. All right, and we have our question. What do you use in your underarms? Any natural deodorant? I do not use any deodorant whatsoever. Never have, and I never will. I do not have a smell, I guess because I eat well. So, yeah. The thing about deodorants is the non-natural ones, and I mentioned this in the video, have aluminum in it. And aluminum clogs the pores, essentially. And that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to clog the pores so you don't sweat. And thus, there's no stink. But the problem with that is that, scientists say, well, the amount of aluminum that could be absorbed isn't going to contribute to anything. When they're found that, some women with a breast cancer, they have more aluminum in their breast tissue. And usually that could be due to the aluminum from their antiperspirant, their deodorants. So that could certainly be contributing there. So no, I probably won't even recommend a natural one because usually they don't work. And usually I think sometimes I've heard people complaining that it smells good initially and then it begins to smell worse. So I'd say if you eat well and you're doing well, then you probably wouldn't have much scent. So, and we got another interesting one here, very related. I don't sweat. Is it bad that I don't sweat? Well, sometimes the lack of sweating can be due to a iodine deficiency. I don't know how that could pertain in your case. That may or may not be the case, but that's certainly a contributing factor that I have heard about. So yes, I thank you all very much for coming here. If you have not checked out my previous video, you can certainly check that out, about the chemicals in the food and the water, air, pesticides, all that sort of stuff. So yes, there is a lot of toxic things that we are exposed to. And yeah, it's certainly something to look into if you have not looked into some of these toxic chemicals. To become aware of them, I think, is the ultimate thing. So any way you can share this information to people who need this information, it is greatly appreciated, because I have compiled a bunch of various sources that may be helpful to people who are brand new, who may not know about some of these toxic chemicals. So it is greatly appreciated that you share the article, you share the video, and you can contribute any way you can to being able to help spread the information so people know. Because a lot of times doctors and scientists, and they don't want you to know this information because they don't want you to heal naturally. They don't want you to be healthy. They want you to be sick, and pharmaceutical companies want you to be sick so they can profit. They can profit off you. That's essentially what it's all about. So I've realized this for a very long time, and I'm trying to expose that information any way I can. And I would not be able to without your help and without your support any way you can. So I am very appreciative of your help and support. So thank you very much. I also, something else I mentioned on the previous video also, I did spend a lot of time and money on that previous video. I think it was like $70 with all the images and everything, and plus hours and hours of my time researching, putting together the video, rendering it. It took a very long time, and I do greatly appreciate any amount of contribution you can give as well, because that helps me continue to spread this information and to provide you with this information that you can share to other people. So any way you can contribute, even if you can't contribute, even if you just share it with some of your friends, it's all greatly appreciated. And I am so very thankful for your support and for your help in spreading this message of healing the body, healing the mind naturally to be able to overcome these problems. So thank you very much. The only other thing that I will say is be sure to check out my website, autumnasphodel.com. I have all my content on there. I have articles of all my videos that I have done with the script for all of them. Everything is there. You can sign up for my free email newsletter that is on there, and it'll update you earlier than I post on YouTube. That's the ultimate thing. I'm trying to get more away from YouTube. And I'm trying to focus more on my website. And that's what I have been doing, and I have been seeing great success with that. I've recently redesigned my whole website in like the middle of January. And it looks amazing. So if you have not checked it out yet, please be sure to visit that, autumnasphodel.com. So yes, you can certainly subscribe to my newsletter. You will be updated whenever I post a new video and other information that I put out, such as live stream notifications just like this. And yes, I am so thankful for all your help and support. And thank you all so very much for coming. It was lovely talking with you all and having this conversation with you all. So I will leave you all there. You all have a wonderful rest of your night or day, depending on where you are. And I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye, everyone.